Guys, what's going on? Long time no speak. It's been a hot minute since I've hopped on YouTube and posted something. I thought it would be cool to update you guys on what's going on at the moment in terms of my training, in terms of life a little bit, just a quick sit down and catch up, and also to share some interesting questions I had via my Instagram last week, I think it was, yeah, because we're on Monday now. I'm recording this on Monday. I don't know when I'm going to put this out, but just share some questions that I had received from people that I thought might be quite interesting to give those answers to you guys as well, because maybe you have those questions as well. So I'll start off with the questions, because I think let me give you guys the value, and then if you want to stay on for a little update, you can at the end. But the first question I received was around keeping training going and keeping fit whilst, let me just make sure I'm mic'd up, yeah, whilst traveling. And I thought this was a really interesting question, and my answer may have come across a little bit facetious to the person who asked me, but I kind of said nothing changes. If you are training for something running related, that is one of the beauties of training for a running event, is that you don't need any equipment. Where you are really doesn't matter that much. If you have a little bit of space, a little stretch of land or whatever, you can do your training, you can do your running. One piece of advice I gave around being on holiday and keeping your training up is to get it done at the beginning of the day. This is something that I do and implement even when I'm not on holiday or when I'm not away, although I don't go away that often, because I find that keeping the relationship with training healthy, in other words, keeping it positive and keeping it something that feels like a privilege and what you get to do as opposed to an obligation and something you have to do, is contingent on doing it at the beginning of the day, because the longer you put it off, the more you start to figure out reasons as to why you don't want to do the workout, and it becomes difficult, and then you start to maybe resent it, and then that just muddies the waters around how you are engaging with the fact that you have training that you want to get done. So I always like to get it done first thing in the morning. For me, it's usually the first thing I do. So depending on the duration of my workout, when I have my first gap in clients, after Sue has come into the gym and I can get out of the gym and leave it, it's like when I have my first gap in between clients. If it's an hour gap, I won't go train, because my workouts are very rarely shorter than an hour. If it is like an hour and a half or 2 hours, then I'll kind of push it and I'll go around on the road, get the workout done, come back, and then it's done. And then there's no, the looming thing over your head the entire day. Oh, I've got to go work out. Oh, I've got to go get this run in. Oh, I've got to go do this thing. So, and that transfers beautifully into when you go on holiday. When you're on holiday, you kind of want to just be on holiday. And if you have decided that you want to keep active during your holiday, if it's not a particularly active holiday that involves a lot of walking and you want to keep running, go do it at the beginning of the day, because that means that it's going to be done and you're going to be happy that you did it, and it's going to minimize the time you spend arguing with yourself about all the reasons why you don't want to do it. And I think just minimizing that negative time you spend with yourself and the fact you have to go work out or you want to go work out, the better. Just keep it as little as possible, because it keeps that training relationship nice and sweet, sets you up for a good day, and it's just all good. Another question I received during the week was around nutrition, and I am not a nutritionist or a dietary professional or any kind of thing like that at all. And I was answering in terms of what works for me and what I generally find works. And the first thing I said, so this person was asking me about, okay, what should I do in the week leading up to my my ultra, because this person was running an ultra endurance event. What should I do in the week leading up to that with my nutrition? And the first thing I said, which is what I usually do, is don't change anything. Don't make any last minute adjustments. It's kind of like studying for a test. Anything you do the night before or 10 minutes before, maybe a better analogy, 10 minutes before, it's highly unlikely that's going to make or break your test. Don't overcomplicate things right before. Just keep it the same as it is. Keep things constant. You don't want to throw yourself off and do something and put something into your body that maybe doesn't agree with your body. Just keep it the same. Don't change anything. And then the other basics I said was make sure you're on top of your electrolytes, make sure you're on top of your carbs, make sure that you're fueling regularly and kind of on a time clock, eat when you feel hungry, all those basic kind of things. and then a few other little specifics which I won't share. You can message me personally if you want to chat about that. But yeah, so I just said, when you're preparing for a big event, making last minute changes to nutrition is not a particularly wise decision. What I would recommend is when you have your long runs or your race specific or very similar to what the race environment's going to be like, workouts, okay, test the nutrition in that environment so that you have a little petri dish, or you have a little sandbox in which to play around with your nutrition. And it's low risk. It's not the event itself. It's another environment where if something goes wrong, that's fine. So yeah, those are the two questions I received. How to stay on top of your running training when you are on holiday. Do it first thing in the morning, and don't make excuses, because it's very straightforward to get a run in whilst you're on holiday. You're just trying to tell if you're in the place as well mentally where you're kind of negotiating around not running on holiday, then just don't run on holiday. Don't do it. Like, just take your holiday. But if it is really something you want to do and you want to keep it, you just want to stay on top of things, do it first thing in the morning, and take your running shoes, lower the barriers to entry, set your shoes out first, out so you can do it first thing in the morning. And I'd also say limit how it affects the other people on the holiday. So try and get it done before everyone else is awake if possible, because you don't want to kind of encroach or affect the other people's plans because you've got a run to do. And yeah, so those are the two questions that I answered this week or last week. And then another thing is races. What's on the cards? What's on the agenda? So the next event, what I'm prepping for at the moment, is Cape Town Marathon. We're going for sub 3. It's a huge PR attempt. My previous PR, I think, is 3:26. So it's a 27 or so minute PR, which is massive. But I trust my coach. I back myself. I know that if I put my mind to it, I'll get it done. The biggest hurdle and the biggest challenge, I think, is the weight cut, because I think that's going to help me a lot. I started the prep at 97, 98 kilos, which is 5.5 kilos heavier than I was when I ran 3:26 last year, and I still felt like I could have been a little bit lighter in terms of just being kinder to my joints and performing better, moving quicker, moving easier. So there's a bit of work to be done there, quite a bit of work to be done, and I'm just kind of looking at portion control, keeping the nutrients on point, or keeping my food nutrient dense, and really just being intentional around my nutrition. The strength training's remained, hasn't really changed much. And other than that, that's kind of the last official event for the year for me. So post 100K Ultra in the Drakensberg, wearing my UTD beanie. I'm not sure if you can see that. I took 4 or 5 weeks super easy, and then jumped back into prep. And I love being in prep. Life's better in prep for me, to be honest. And post Cape Town, what's on the cards next? I want to go full on into trail. And that's what I plan to do. I love being out in the mountains. I love being out in nature. I'm still moving regularly outside. I still go and hike and do some trail runs here and there. So once I've hit that sub 3, that's what I'm going to do. And we've got some exciting things on the cards in terms of that for next year, which I'll keep until a bit closer to the time to announce. But that's a little update. Things at the gym are coming along beautifully as well. We've got some cool events around the corner, some cool partner collaborations, so keep an eye out for that. I will share that with you guys in time, and you're going to be seeing a lot more of me on this platform, because I do love sharing a little bit more, or enjoy sharing a little bit more long form. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.